Obviously, Pavia's throwing the ball really well, in terms of completion percentage. He's up there at 70%. I mean, they just do so many things that put stress on you.
Ray Davis to run the kickback. Spinning, still on his feet. That past the 40. He's out in front. Nobody's going to chase him down. All the way for a touchdown.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. I am so excited. My wife bought me a Christmas gift, okay, and it's helping the show out tremendously. I had this little doohickey to kind of prop up my phone, and she bought me a really good one. The little things in life. I just yelled at my wife, "You're a genius." She goes, "Yes, I am." The little things are so important. Thank you for joining me. Honored and pleased that you're with us, whether it's live or on podcast or whatever. And I got to tell you, I want you to think about this. Just think for a moment about what I'm going to say. Because initially, some of you are going to have a reaction going, But if you're open-minded and you really understand football, and there are a lot of great Kentucky fans that do, I think you're going to agree and go, There is no doubt in my mind that not only did Cutter Boley save Mark Stoops' job, had Zach Calzada been healthy, Stoops would be at the end of his Kentucky career. I'm going to repeat this. I'm going to back it up for something. And by the way, this is not a negative shot towards Zach. It's just not. If Zach Calzada was the quarterback for the entire year, there's no doubt in my mind that this would be Stoops' last season, that Mitch would have to pony up a whole lot of money. I believe it. Now, before you say no, I want you to think about this. Couple things. One, everybody knows the quarterback is the most positioned. Everybody knows when you have a great quarterback, offensive lines play better. Everybody knows when you have a quarterback, when you dip your shoulder down and boom, knock a guy back and get into the end zone with, what was it, a 30-yard run, whatever it was, that excites everybody. I said this a week or two ago. There were people at Auburn that wanted the last coach to go after Pavia. He decided not to. I said it then. Had Pavia gone to Auburn, they wouldn't be making a coaching change. A quarterback can make that much of a difference. Just that's what I believe. I do. If you have a crappy quarterback on this team this year, and I'm not calling Zach crappy, I'm saying he was the wrong person at the wrong time. If you have a crappy quarterback on your team, the record changes. We all know that. So I'd like to say I predicted Cutter would be this good. I did not. I did say many, many, many times that it was disingenuous of Stoops, many times in my monologue, when he, called this thing like coaches like to do, which was just BS. It's a quarterback competition. No, it's not. It's not a quarterback competition unless two quarterbacks split the reps with the first team 50-50. So it never was. And we can all speculate how much better this team would be had Cutter started from day one. Do I think they'd already be in a bowl game? I do. So you can complain about that or just say, at least the decision was done. We had Van Hiles on the show yesterday. And one, it's pretty obvious that Cutter's going to be the freshman of the year in the Southeastern Conference. At least at this point, there's no question about it, at least in my mind. And one of the things he said, but Cutler, another thing is not a ton of freshmen play. I get it. Doesn't matter. He's a freshman of the year in the conference. But right now, in Van's humble opinion, and he's great, he believes that Cutter is one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the conference. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in the conference this year. And you can make a case over the last 4 or 5 weeks, he's in the top 2. And Kentucky's going against the other quarterback in the top 2. I mean, think about what's happened. Just think about what's happened. And I really sincerely believe that Cutter has saved Stoops' job. Does that take away from Stoops? Hell no. It doesn't. Not for a second. Does it take away with the past remarkable turnaround that Brad White has done with his defense with all these damn injuries? Nope. It's crazy, all the injuries. It just is. There are kids playing. I didn't know who some of these kids were. Neither did you. And I guarantee you there were coaches that weren't sure because you really don't know until you see them, although you have a feeling for it because you're a coach. But there are some kids that are playing really well that 3 months ago Brad White couldn't have possibly known 100% they'd be as good as they are. It's a credit to White. It's a credit to the kids. And even before this thing turned around, what did I keep on saying? I kept on saying that for whatever reason, this was obvious to me. It's become popular with a lot of other people in the last 2 weeks, but I was doing this way before everybody else. These kids didn't quit on Stoops. These kids didn't quit on each other. And I really think Cutler, in his own way, is the leader of the team. I've been saying that for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. With just Cutler being Cutler. He's such an easy kid to like. So I'm excited about tomorrow. Could they lose tomorrow? Of course. How about this? In the last 122 years, do you know how many times Vandy's won 10 games? 0. So look at it this way. You got two motivated teams. I think that's great. I am so excited to watch the game tomorrow. I'm not going to Nashville, but I'm so excited. And as I said yesterday, I mean, I have an afternoon of sports. I'm going to watch the women at 2 o'clock, Kentucky and Louisville. I'm really excited about that. I'm as excited to watch the Kentucky-Louisville women's game as any Kentucky-Louisville women's game that has ever come across my desk in all these years. Two big-time programs. I mean, it's amazing what's going on. Fourth best recruiting class, and it's only going to get better. Remember I asked this question, and I said, I don't know, Jimmy. Remember I said this early in the year, really early, before, Kentucky was laying eggs against a couple of teams. I said it before the season, and I said I didn't know. I said, I don't know who was going to get to the Final Four first, the women or the men. Jimmy, I hope you remember that. And I said it, not a ton, but a couple of times. And then I said I didn't know. Now, if I had to guess, I'd say it'd be the women. But, things can change. Haven't we learned things can change? Come on. I didn't predict 4 weeks ago this would be happening with Kentucky football. I did predict before the season, and I thought for many weeks it was one of the dumbest predictions I ever made, because that's all a prediction is. You're just throwing out something, and you really don't know. You have a feel, but you don't know, and sometimes you just don't know. I said before the season they'd be 6-6 and go to a bowl game. You know how bad I felt about that prediction for weeks and weeks? I thought it was awful. I did. Now I hope my prediction is wrong. I think it's going to be. And that'd be great. It's fun to be wrong sometimes. It just is fun to be wrong. But think about it. Had Pavia gone to Auburn, I don't think they'd be making a coaching change. I don't. And Cutler staying here and getting the job, I think he has saved Mark Stoops' job. Might have saved Bush's job too. And I keep on saying, Bush obviously is a lot smarter than many people thought. He can call plays he couldn't call before. And I've said this a number of times. I believe from the bottom of my heart, and I don't know if I'll ever admit it, and I know some stuff behind this, but that's neither here nor there, that Bush was amazingly frustrated last year that the line was so bad and things he wanted to do he just couldn't do because he didn't think he had the talent to do it. And that's powerful. And by the way, that's not the first or second time a coach has been in that mode. It's often not talked about because you don't want to be negative. Well, he's not talking about it, but I am. He's kind of hinted at it, by the way. Hinted. Slight hinted. He's never said it, and he shouldn't say it. And I get it. As a coach, there's certain things you should and should not say. That's just the way it is. So I'm excited about tomorrow. I'm really excited. And the fascinating thing will be how you slow down Pavia. I can't see stopping him. I just can't. Kid's amazing. And he's tough. And the way he throws on the run, I don't see very many people thinking like me that he can play pro football. Initially I said Canada, but Jimmy, if he gets with the right team, why can't he play in the NFL? Let me give you an example. The Jones kid, who's your backup now with 49ers, has done a hell of a job, and I thought he was a great quarterback at Alabama. And most people remember he actually committed to Kentucky. And then, the Saban effect, and had a great career at Alabama. And I actually thought he was going to be, I was wrong, a great quarterback with New England. I was wrong. And now he's resurrecting careers, but he's a backup. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets a chance to start for somebody else next year, kind of like Jones with the Giants, who I really liked in college, and I thought he was a better quarterback than he showed with the Giants. And I thought the Giants situation was stupid, and look how good he is now with Indiana. Look how good he is. But, Jimmy, think about it. You have Jones. I know you follow the 40. Look, you got a 49ers cap on, okay? You got your cap on. Can't you see Pavia as a backup, maybe not next year if he had to be for the 49ers?
Oh, yeah. And I think there's no question that he will be on an NFL roster.
Yeah.
The whole thing with quarterbacks and their size, I think we've seen there's enough guys. Like Brock Purdy, he's not tall. I think he's 6'1", maybe. Like, he's not a big guy, but he can get it done. We've seen other guys. I could almost see Pavia morphing into, I don't know if it'd go quite that far, but like Taysom Hill with the Saints. They're built very similar. Taysom Hill's bigger. He's a bigger guy.
Bigger man.
But to use his skill sets, or maybe how I think people thought the Seahawks would use Jalen Milroe a little bit like that this year because they drafted him in the third round and have Sam Darnold. But he will be used in some way on an NFL field next year, 100%.
You know, I thought Milroe would get more packages for
Yeah.
Now, Darnold had 4 interceptions in the last game, but until recently, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in football. And a couple of passes he threw, you know, I look at the clips. I didn't watch the game. I looked at the clips and going, what the hell was he thinking? It was like the Sam Darnold that was in New York. So maybe he slipped back. But, you know, the clips I've seen of Darnold, oh, my gosh, he throws some pretty balls. And I wonder if Darnold wasn't playing well, not that Milroe would have taken over, but I bet they have a package for him. And I bet they kind of figure they don't need to use it because Darnold is so good. But, you know, Pavia's listed at 6'2", and there was a feature. He's supposed to be like 205, and by the way, he looks it. He looks 205. And there was a feature a couple weeks ago that I talked about that was an ESPN. It was really good. And, you know, he's in a T-shirt and shorts and stuff like that. He's thick. I mean, he's thick. He looks like a strong safety, a well-built strong safety. So I'm just saying I'm super excited about tomorrow. Super excited. I think it's great. I didn't think I'd be excited about a football game in Lexington. And plus, look at it this way. If you get by Vandy, Louisville's got all kinds of issues. They got injuries. They got issues. They've blown some games they easily should have won. I'm going to throw this out here. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this part I have said many times. Chris Chenault, who's joining us today, said it last year and this year. I thought the Kentucky kids quit against Louisville. I do. You can disagree. That's great. You're entitled to your opinion just like me. Would it be possible if Louisville mailed it in against Kentucky when you're saying, oh, that can't happen, it's a rivalry? BS, it can happen. Look, let me tell you, Louisville loses this weekend. How much will they be limping? And will they have their quarterback and maybe some tailbacks playing? Not. I mean, this is interesting. This is interesting because, you know, 4 weeks ago, Louisville looked like they had a shot at getting in the top 10. And boom, it's crumbled. Plus, you never hear Jeff Brom's name out there for anything, do you? Before I forget, and I want to talk basketball in a second, you say, do have a little game tonight. Cupcake City, Loyola. And if they play good defense tonight, I hope nobody puts on Twitter, oh, man, they played great tonight on D. And that'd be nice. But it means nothing. Now, you can disagree, but that's how I think, and I've thought this way forever. You play a cupcake, you're supposed to look good playing defense. Now, the story would be if you play horse puck on defense against a cupcake, that's the story. But there are givens in sports. Oh, my gosh. They played well against the last cupcake. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Chris Chenault at 1 o'clock. Nick Roush, who does a really good job on KSR. He's a really good football guy and a really good writer, will join us at 1:30 first time. I like Nick. And Brandon Ramsey, always great about basketball, will be joining us at 12:30. Interesting. Kentucky's playing tonight, and I started with football. You know what that means, Jimmy? I'm that excited about this football game tomorrow. I am. And when I opened my mouth, I swear I didn't know which way I was going. Either way was fine. I mean, you know, you can't go wrong. My mouth said, I'm excited about football. It's not that I'm not excited about basketball, but this has been a mess. It's a mess. And as I started yesterday, hey, Pope, it's time for you to prove. Really, you got to prove. And if that sounds harsh, am I down on Mark Pope? No. Do I like Mark Pope any less? No. No. And to the guy who put up a poll, who we go up and back with, you know, trying to put a thing, is he the right guy, should be fired, that kind of thing. Stop it. First of all, you can do whatever the hell you want. Stop it. Really? Really? You know, I agree with what Travis Ford said this week. I think they're going to get it together. When? I don't know. I don't know. But I believe they'll get together. I'm not trying to be gobbledygook. Me, you got to be kidding. I really think these kids are feeling pressure. Jimmy, let me ask you a question. Suppose you get a job in an NFL city tomorrow. I can see if Lynn's listening, he's going, don't get rid of Jimmy. We like him. Tomorrow, it's a big-time job. And they hear your tape and they say, son, you're great. Well, son, to me, you're almost like a son because you're young, but you're an adult, married, kid and kids, that kind of stuff. So I didn't mean it that way. I hope you're smirking at me because you know me too well. And they're going to say, okay, we're going to pay you $250,000 to be drive time on XYZ station in a major market, and it's the top sports talk show in the market. Okay? And let's say that happens. Would you feel pressure a little bit that, am I worth the money? I'm not saying you're not worth the money, but would you feel pressure saying, am I worth the money? Would you look at things differently? Now, before you answer, maybe you won't. And I know you're going to give me an honest answer. That's not the question. I think most people would feel a little differently. What say you?
I absolutely would. I already know I would, what's called the imposter syndrome, where you're at a certain level, but you don't feel like you should be at that level, and you don't know why you're getting the praise and the money that you're getting. It would add a different type of pressure that because no one else knows how much money you're making, but you know, and you know the pressure that's there. That I feel like that would get to me.
Yeah, and by the way, and I think that's human nature.
Yeah.
And then you have a choice. You either adjust to it or you don't. And if you don't adjust to it, I'm not trying to be mean to you, Jimmy, but you know what? You have almost zero chance of succeeding.
Oh, yeah.
Because you won't be yourself. It's one of the things I learned a long time ago. I'm going to swing. I'm going to miss. I swing and miss. I strike out a lot. Okay, but you can't be afraid to swing and miss.
Got to take the bat off your shoulder.
I'm not fast enough to get a walk and steal 3 bases. I don't have a choice. Hey, Mickey Mantle was the greatest strikeout artist in the history of baseball when he retired. Hit way over 500 home runs. He's the only guy I ever remember saying he always swung hard for a home run. I'm a baseball geek. We don't do a ton of baseball here. I need to ask that to Hal McCoy. Because Hal McCoy was only in locker rooms for close to 50 years and covered the Reds now for over 50 years. Doesn't go in locker rooms now like he used to. He's in his 80s and his eyesight's not good. I think people know the story. But I love Hal McCoy. Jimmy, have you ever, I'm going on a quick tangent and I'm going to go back to basketball. Have you ever, come on, you're a baseball guy. I love baseball. I've been geeking on baseball since the late 1950s, probably before your parents were born. The point is this. Have you ever seen a superstar say that they were swinging for the fences all the time?
No, I just go back to Barry Bonds in the way I'm catching the ball. I'm replacing the catcher's mitt, and I'm just putting the bat on the ball. That's how you hear him and a lot of guys talk about it. You just swing, let the ball do the work.
And so strong with that short swing, it was unbelievable. I have told you this. I'm not going to get on a tangent. I dealt with him when he was a rookie.
Yeah.
On the Pirates TV network.
Yeah. I've heard some things about him that he wasn't just the nicest guy. That was the talk back where growing up out there in the Bay Area.
Very, very apropos.
Yeah.
This was, as a rookie. I got to say this one. I got to get off of this. I got to do Kentucky basketball, but he would do this just to showboat. Those hammers? I don't know what happened to him. Sledgehammers. Mm-hmm. For a little while, and I think he started it, guys would swing a sledgehammer to loosen up their arms and stuff like that. Have you ever seen anyone in the history of baseball, outside of Bonds, who would take the sledgehammer and he would go out to center field right behind second base, and he wouldn't go to the warning track, but he'd go out, a fairly large thing, and he'd be swinging that like crazy. So I'm doing a pregame show, and I figured, okay, you got 3 minutes to do an interview and that kind of stuff, and figured I could barely pick it up. I'm serious. And he swung it around with each hand like it was nothing. And he must have had some of the strongest wrists in the history of baseball. And when he would do it, he would be wearing not his game jersey, would always change, that kind of stuff for sweating, and his forearms were humongous. And that he was just different. You're right, catch the ball. I forgot that phrase. He used to say, I'm going to catch the ball. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, to Kentucky. Let me repeat what I said yesterday. I have no idea. I am an expert on shoulders. I have no idea. What was Pope's line? Take a swing at it, something like that. Something with the word swing in it. when he updated that low is day to day. Okay? And so this is what I know about shoulders. I don't care what Pope is saying. This is what I know about shoulders. It's obvious the kid wants to play. That's as obvious as the nose on my face. What I do not know if somebody or obviously a doctor said, kid, you need surgery. I don't know that. I do know this. In a shoulder, if somebody tells you we're going to take a swing at it, one, that means it needs to get stronger. Duh. And if it gets stronger and the shoulder becomes more in place, then you can play with it a little bit. And sometimes it's a matter of dealing with pain. I'm not questioning this kid's pain tolerance. Not at all. So if you want to go there, don't go there. It has nothing to do with it. I will tell you this, and I've said this a number of times. When you have a shoulder problem, basketball is a contact sport. It's not football. It's a contact sport. He drives in the lane, he's going to get bumped. And here's what happens. Everybody else knows he's got a shoulder problem. I'm telling you, there were times when Butler got hit last year on purpose because they were trying to mess up his shoulder. That's sports, whether you like it or not. All the time? No. Did I see it? Yes. Did I talk about it more than once? Yes, I did. Were people kind of slick about doing it? Yes, they were. Am I mad at anybody for doing it? That's sports. That's just sports. Whether you like it or not, that's sports. It's physical. And here's what I do know. If he ends up coming back, if he gets strong enough and he keeps on getting bumped, that shoulder is not going to get healthy. And so I have said this a gazillion times on the show. I always err on the side of the player, not the school. That is not a shot at Kentucky. Not at all. I'm always going to go for the player and the player's safety and the player's health. I'm not changing. I'm just not going to change. And I'm telling you, there's the odds of this having a good outcome, if he can come back, are really not good. It's just not. This is what I do know. And I remember when I did this, the Reds got really mad at me. I was on 700 WOW, and Sean Casey, what they said, had a slight tear in his shoulder, okay? And he said, like a lot of athletes, I'm going to play through it. Now, think about it. Jimmy, you've swung Major League bats, right?
Yes.
They're heavy, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
They are heavy. It's not like the sledgehammer with Bonds, but they're heavy, okay? And I went on 700 WOW, and I said, Sean, you don't know me because I didn't hang around the Reds, but I'm telling you, if you have a tear, and they said he had a slight tear, but he was going to tough it out. One of the dumbest things in sports to do sometimes is when people tough it out. It just is. There's a time and place to tough it out. If you have a tear by playing baseball and extending and swinging the bat, the tear is going to be worse. So he toughed it out, had the surgery. And guess what happened when he had the surgery? The tear was much bigger than we anticipated. Well, what the heck? What the heck? He's swinging a bat. He made the tear worse. And so I went crazy when they said he was going to continue to play, and I went crazier when he had the surgery and said that the tear was worse. And the Reds didn't like it. I'm sorry. I'm an expert on shoulders. You tear something, how is the tear going to lessen when you're swinging a bat? How is that going to happen? It can't. It can't. So, again, I don't know the extent of his shoulder, but if they're saying they want to take a swing at it, that means someone has told him in all probability maybe you shouldn't. That tells me, guessing, that this kid wants to play. I applaud this kid, but I'm telling you, and I believe this from the bottom of my heart, if I'm low, you need to get it to be 100%. Maybe it's not surgery, okay? Maybe it's rehab and all that kind of stuff, but until that shoulder is 100%, with shoulders, he should not step on the court, and that's me. Different doctors have different things. 2 doctors told me that I needed to have my knee replaced. I canceled my surgery 2 days before. A lot of people get knee replacements, and they're just fine. Matter of fact, Alvin Rice, dear friend, he's done the show. Alvin's a great guy. He's Mr. Paris, Mr. Bourbon County. Probably loved by as many people in that county as anybody living. And he had to replace, and Jimmy, I saw a shot where he's jumping in the rehab from his knee replacement. God bless him. I sent him a note. And I think I can get my knee. It's improved tremendously without having surgery. That doesn't mean surgery isn't good for you. I'm just not doing it with surgery. We'll see. It's been over a year, and I still can't do steps, but I'm so much better. The point is this. It's pretty simple. Different strokes, different folks. I just wonder if trying to take a swing at it is the right thing. I just wonder if the best thing for this kid, look, he's a young kid. He wants to play basketball for the next 10 years or more. And somewhere in the world, this kid's going to play basketball probably for the next 10 years or more. Look, if it's not the NBA, you can make, and who knows how he'll finish here and how much he's going to improve, because I think he's going to grow and improve and all that kind of stuff. I don't know where he's going to end up. I think he'll play forever somewhere, whether it's in England, Ireland, China. There's tons of countries where you can make a whole lot of money. I'm not predicting the NBA because he's got to get a lot better first. I just wish the best for the kid. Look, the kid's a gym rat. He's been in basketball his whole life, and I don't know if they're doing the right thing. I just don't. By the way, I freaked out, and Evan Miyakawa sent me something, and he's not doing talk shows for a while for a good reason. It has nothing to do with sports. He's healthy and all that kind of stuff. But he has Garrison as like the number 3 best offensive player on Kentucky, and then Pope said Brandon Garrison was number 2. I don't even know how to respond to that. I just don't. I mean, there's almost no stat that. How many times have you seen that I've said I've looked at the stat in somebody's information and I'm speechless? We're in our 4th year together.
Yeah.
Have I ever done that?
No, and I wonder because Evan Miyakawa does a lot of like the deeper analytical stuff, and Mark Pope seems to be very into that as well. So I wonder if somewhere within the analytic stats, Brandon Garrison is grading high, but that's the difference in why analytics and just watching basketball, there's sometimes they don't mesh very well. Like your eye test does not show you what the analytics do. So that's strange, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Mark Pope said that and Miyakawa and his numbers say the same thing. Like I wonder if there's some kind of analytical thing within there where if you pick and choose certain things, he is performing well this year.
Okay.
I don't get it, though.
I don't get it. By the way, and look, I could be wrong. You know, it's all part of it. Also, he says, this is from Evan Miyakawa, and he does, like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if ESPN hires him or something like that because he's young and he can really talk and he's so good. It's a computer thing. It's his thing. He says, Aberdeen has been great, but UK needs more from Owe for sure. Nobody's surprised at that. How about this? And I find this interesting. Chandler can also improve on the defensive end in terms of his impact. Main thoughts. Kentucky has been at its best with Aberdeen. Owe below average is an issue. UK poor defensively with Chandler so far. Those are his 3 breakdowns he sent to me. And we've got graphs and stuff like that. It's, I think, pretty interesting with the computer stuff. I just don't get the Garrison stuff. And I just don't understand. I'm baffled, by the way. Totally baffled. You know, you got a Chandler problem. I love the kid. I really do. And I think his potential is ridiculous. And I keep on saying he needs to learn how to use his handle more to create space for a shot. And the perfect example to use, Reed Sheppard is one of the best. If there's somebody in the NBA under the age of 25 who's better at creating space with his shot, for his shot, than Reed Sheppard, tell me who it is. Seriously. I'm not sure there's anybody 30 and under creating space with his dribble. He's become that good with that. He takes the ball when there's no room, and he just moves around and shakes and bakes and that kind of stuff and creates space. I think Chandler can do that. I don't think he's there yet. I think he needs to work on his handle. I'm not saying his handle is bad. The handle is not great. But, Jimmy, does he seem to get in foul trouble like all the time?
Yeah.
And that's a problem. He's got to play more defense with his feet than his hands. I'm sure he's being told, but right now he's a bad defensive player. And I think he can improve on that. I really do. But right now, no. Right now, after a break, Brandon Ramsey. After that, Chris Chenault. After that, Nick Roush. Honored and pleased that you're joining us. Appreciate it tremendously. This thing is growing thanks to you and word of mouth and telling a friend or two. ESPN Sports Lexington app is the best way to get it. We're on all different kind of podcasts. Jimmy, I didn't check this morning. Are we on Spotify?
We should be.
That's what I thought. Somebody messaged me, said, Alan, please get us on Spotify. I was going to check this morning. I forgot. I know we used to be on Spotify. Anyway, so I told this gentleman, thank you for listening to the show, ESPN Sports Lexington app. Don't forget the Quantrill Auto Group. What a deal, what a deal, what a deal, what a deal, what a deal. Subaru, Outback, 000. Who doesn't like 0% interest in today's world, in any world. 0% interest for 36 months. If you want to spread it out to 72, it's 1.9. And we have the XC60, the Volvo. Judy loves it. It's a hybrid. It's the best car we've ever had. We now have 3 cars from the Quattro Auto Group in well over a decade. They've been great to us. They're great people to deal with. I trust them, which to me is very important. Don't forget the Quattro family of dealerships, the right place to get your next Subaru, your next Cadillac, your next Volvo. And they promise to get you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks. Use my name. Go down there. They're really good people. How they hire people and what they look for in people, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool. It's pretty smart. The Quattro Auto Group, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
This is Brent Clark with my daughter, Carlisle.
We want to help you get ready for the holidays. So if you are just headed around the block or far away, stop in, gas up, and get some yummy treats for the car. Check out our holiday specials, including Mentos or Trident Vibes bottle pack gum for $3.99 or Uncle Ray's potato chips 3-ounce bags for $1.99.
So no matter where your holiday travels take you, stop in any Clark's Pump and Shop and get stocked up on holiday candy, and thank you for being a customer.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
I would say probably 3 at this particular point.
Okay.
And why?
Looking constipated.
I apologize. I would say 3 at this particular point, and I would say the reason why is because how they're playing. They're not shooting the ball well from 3. They're not guarding the 3. They're not rebounding. They look like kittens more than wildcats, in my opinion. And at the end of the day, when you spend $22 million in NIL, there has to be some accountability. And why are you going out there? Not to say that all these guys are not good players, but when I look at $22 million, Jill, and you know this, you got to find a stud.
Absolutely.
That you can play off of.
And you're not seeing the alpha.
No, I'm not seeing it quite yet, because usually the alpha is the one that takes control of that locker room. And I'm hearing the head coach, Mark Pope, doing a lot of taking control of that particular locker room. And when it's not player-led, that's going to be difficult to transition to from a head coaching standpoint to get the guys to come going.
That was great stuff. I mean, great stuff from Jamal Mashburn. Called them kittens, not wildcats. And so, couple things. Mash has always been good on TV, but he's gotten much better. If I didn't know better, he's gone to a coach where he's opening his mouth more, enunciating his words better. He's really calm. And before I introduce my guest, I got to say this. I don't think he's ripping Kentucky. This is what I call an honest, no-filter comment. He loves Kentucky. Okay, he's not ripping Kentucky. I think most of it, now, if you think he's ripping, God bless, more power to you. To me, he's not ripping Kentucky at all. He's saying this is what the problem is. That's not ripping. That's constructive. You can disagree. You can disagree. And what did I say the other day? What have I said for not quite 2 weeks? Hey, you've spent $22 million. You better get a stud. Bruce Pearl on the same set, who's also really good on TV, which was an easy prediction. He says sometimes less is more. And Pearl said Kentucky is playing bench players like starters. Now, the question that Adam Lefkoe, formerly of Louisville, asked, with the goal of 1 to 5, how concerned are you? So that's when Mashburn said 3, and that's why he said, to be funny, constipation. Okay, so I don't think it's a criticism. Brandon Ramsey does a great job analyzing film with KSR. He's got his own coach's service. He's made a living being a smart basketball guy, and he loves what he's doing. I always enjoy talking to people that they love what they're doing. And you put on a thing last night, long introduction for you, that you talked about how lucky you are to break down film for KSR. That you're a kid in the candy store. This is not work for you. You're doing what you love. I'm doing what I love. Everybody should do something that they like to do if they can do it. Not everybody can. I consider myself fortunate. You consider yourself fortunate. So, do you think that was a rip job or not? I don't. What say you?
No, it's not a rip job because it's a paid analyst, giving his opinion on what's happening, and he has a pretty good pulse on things, having been obviously a former Kentucky player himself and a longtime pro, and all the success he's had on the basketball court. He knows what it looks like. And there's, others of us across the not as Big Blue Nation, but outside of it too, that know what winning basketball looks like. And we're not seeing it right now from the Kentucky Wildcats. And that, that especially when you're a fan of the team and you care about it, like Jamal does, like I do, it can be frustrating to watch at times. So no, I don't think he was ripping them at all, because he wants to see them succeed, and he knows what it takes, and he knows what he's seeing right now isn't really it. And I agree with a lot of the things that he said about, kind of having that alpha and having that dude. And that was one of my worries, honestly, going into the season, was that I wasn't sure if Kentucky had kind of that all-American sort of guy that could help you win a national championship. Now, I thought the pieces as a collective whole were going to be good enough to compete for a Final Four, and once you get to that point, anything can happen. But that was maybe one of my real concerns, and now especially with an injury to one of your best players, and Jalen Lowe still waiting on Jaden Quanis to come back. Yeah, it's kind of starting to add up, and some of those little fears that we had of like, well, if there's a chink in the armor, here it is, or if there's a chink in the armor, here it is. Now those chinks are kind of starting to get bigger, and they're being proven on the court, as Kentucky doesn't look great against Louisville, doesn't look great against Michigan State. Now there's some real concerns going forward as to what this team is going to be.
And by the way, at this point, I'm not concerned about Mo Diabate's ankle. You can't have every injury and say, oh my gosh, I'm assuming he's not playing today because he didn't practice yesterday, and most coaches, I've never heard Pope talk about it. That was Cal's thing. You don't practice the day before, you don't play. I think he broke it one time, as I recall. Neither here nor there. But I'm just assuming he's not going to play, and I would err on the side of caution, because if you really need him tonight to beat Loyola, you suck. I mean, seriously. And you got Tennessee Tech and John Pelfrey next week, and then you got Carolina on the 2nd. I would want the kid 100% for North Carolina, whatever it takes. I don't care, that kind of thing. But it's a long season. Kids got to be healthy. One of the worst things is nagging injuries. It's just awful. So I'm not concerned at this point about Diabate. Are you?
No, I'm not. Yeah, like you said, just because we've had some rough injury luck with some guys doesn't mean that every single one of them is the end of the world. Until proven otherwise, I'm going to assume that the next time Kentucky plays a super meaningful game, which will be North Carolina in a couple weeks, I would assume he'll be out there.
By the way, I don't know if you saw what Patino did last night. I'm watching St. John's, and they're down 8-2 to Bucknell. And even when they turned the game around, he looked like he wanted to murder somebody. I shouldn't use the word murder, but that's the look. It's amazing. His hair is blacker than mine was when I was 30. How does that work? You know what he's done? He's taken over the role by Mike Krzyzewski.
Yes.
Have you noticed that Krzyzewski, now in retirement, the last time I saw him, his hair is shorter, and you see gray in it. And I saw some white stuff in it. Amazing. As soon as he retired, his hair can't. I always thought that would hurt him in recruiting. You come into some kid's house and your hair is shiny and you're 60-something years old. But he's so good it didn't make a difference. But anyway, I look at his hair, I'm going, come on, Rick, really? But neither here nor there. Anyway, 8-2, boom, takes out all 5 starters. Okay, here's the other thing. He's had 4 different starting lineups so far this year, and his thing was, I don't care who starts. You'll know who's the best players are in the last 5 minutes and whatever, but the kids care it, and he's just so secure of himself, he don't give a rat's what the kids think. He just doesn't, and he gets away with it because he's Rick Pitino. And Aaron Torres initially compared, would Pope do something like this, and I sent him a little thing, hey, you can't compare the two, and he said, you're right. You can't compare the two, maybe someday, which could come back by Aaron Torres, maybe someday. But at this point, it made me think and wonder, and I want to say this nicely because I can see people overreacting. At this point in his coaching career, because he has coached for a long time, Utah Valley and BYU, and just because you haven't gone deep in the tournaments, he didn't have the money at BYU, and Utah Valley, when the hell have they gone deep in the tournament? So, I've never knocked him for that. This is a different stratosphere. We all know it. But I wonder how comfortable Pope is reacting versus analytics. I wonder if he's relying upon his brains and analytics too much instead of saying, here's my feel. I wonder if at times substituting three guys at once takes away a feel for the game for the players themselves, even though they play lots of combinations in practice. I'm searching for things as to what to make these kids, better. Not to wonder at this point would be silly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's one of the things, yes, far be it from me to, act like I have an answer and Coach Pope doesn't. But I do think that, that there's part of it where like trusting himself that he has earned this job and he can do this job is a little bit of it. Because I do think he maybe sometimes relies too much on some of the numbers. So he kind of has something to point to. It's like, well, the analytics told me that this is the five guys I should have out there right now, as opposed to trusting his gut. It's like, hey, like you got this job for a reason, Coach Pope. Like we all trust you to be the man and do this job. And yeah, like there's definitely a feel component, probably a large feel component that comes to being a great coach, and that there's nothing wrong with using analytics to kind of confirm or deny some hypotheses that you may have. But you don't necessarily have to rely on them because otherwise we don't really need you sitting there. We could just have a computer tell us what to do throughout the game. So I do think I would like to see him kind of trust himself more, and even see that with some of the some of his press conferences and how down he is. And like I get it, I love that the dude cares so much and wants to win the games, but I think that right now it's almost like he's taking it personally when Kentucky loses, and I don't know if that's a long-term road to success at a place like Kentucky, where there's there's plenty of pressure on you, whether you put it on yourself or not. And I think that that there's some things that as he grows in this job, he'll kind of figure out down those roads.
Well, he's the leader of the team, and he can't get away with stuff like Pitino did. You can talk to the players, and they will tell you this day there were times when things happened that it was like, oh my gosh, practice the next day, he's going to destroy us. And I don't get the feeling that ever happens at Kentucky. That just have the feeling it's not Pope's way of doing things. And by the way, he's got to do himself for his style, and we'll see if it works. But I do believe more personally, Pope fixing problems, pushing the positive. Your rebounding stinks, okay? Hey, guys, you need to do a better rebound more. We'll show you on tape why you're not rebounding, what you have to do, and we'll show you when you do it well. I kind of like it. But I also wonder, I do like it, and I think it's the changing of the times. There's nobody in the 1950s would have done that. Are you kidding? But I wonder if every now and then, this is sports. This is not selling insurance. This is not going to sell radio ads. I wonder, because of the macho part of sports, if it's really tough to coach being soft all the time. Now, he has cursed in practice, believe it or not. Not like Pitino. Pitino probably has cursed more than one bad practice than Pope maybe has in 2 years here. That'd be a guess. I don't know. But I wonder if at times holding your feet to the fire needs to be done more. I'm searching, because right now, I'm not saying he can't fix it. I expect him to fix it. But right now, this really sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, yes, it really, any and all criticisms at this point are fair game, because it's not going well, and I think that it's also it's not going well in a way that there's concerns for what it's going to look like going forward. Like it's not like you just had one bad game, or like, oh man, Michigan State kind of shot the lights out compared to what they normally do, but it's not like, they made 11 threes. They didn't make 18. So it's not like that something crazy happened on the other end to lose these games. I mean, if Kentucky plays like they did against Michigan State, they're going to have a really long non-conference schedule because a lot of these teams are pretty darn good, and it's going to be really tough getting through the SEC. So yeah, I think that at this point you do have to start, whether it's the lineups or whether it's how certain guys are playing or whether it's the coaching strategy or the way he is in practice, the way he responds to adversity. All these things are on the table right now, and I think that yes, I trust him completely to figure it out because I have no reason not to yet. But he also has to prove that because it's only his second year, and I think that right now some people are rightfully a little bit down on things, and we'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, these next couple games aren't going to really do anything for the fan base to prove anything one way or another. But then we're going to get North Carolina and Gonzaga, and hopefully things look a lot better than they have these last couple of big games.
Forget the $22 million for a second. Is that possible?
I can, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, you're a tough guy. Look, St. John's is playing their players. Alabama's paying their players. If the Kentucky kid's getting more than somebody else, that's a little added pressure. I get it. But by the same token, too, you get a kid who's never had money. What kid does? I'm not talking about coming from a good neighborhood or a bad neighborhood. 99% of the kids don't have money. And all of a sudden you get money. It doesn't matter if it's 100,000 or 200,000. I'm serious. Now, obviously, more if it's 200,000. But you're going to feel pressure. And I'm telling you, these kids don't look like they're having fun. They are hesitating. I used the example of Noah the other day. He's a 2-on-1 break. The guy is shading for the pass. He had an open lane, an easy layup. He's a really smart kid. He threw a pass that he never would have thrown in high school. That was his to take to the bucket, which means he screwed up in that moment in the head for making a decision. I'm not picking on the kid. I love the kid. How do you not like the kid? But sometimes a small thing personifies a big thing. It's always been huge in my career. Always been huge in my career. And so he ain't the only one making that mistake. That was just so obvious. It gave me something to really point out where it's tangible versus a feel thing. Boom, it's right there in front of you. And he needs to, next time it's a 2-on-1, it's one thing if the guy's open. It's one thing you flip a guy to an alley-oop. There was no pass to throw. You need to take the damn ball to the bucket and put the ball in. It's selfish making the bad pass. It's unselfish scoring the bucket. Last time I checked, you got to win a basketball game by scoring more. And when I saw that, I'm going, really, this whole team is screwed up. They're feeling the pressure. They are not playing loose. I don't know how to fix it, but I got to tell you, you can play up tight and beat Loyola, but I wonder if they'll be looser because they're playing Loyola, and then you wonder if they'll be loose playing North Carolina. I'm looking at college basketball, and the college basketball is great. I'm going to get into that in a second. But do you think these kids are feeling pressure because of the money? Added because it's $22 million. But a lot of other schools are paying more than $10 million, whatever the hell it is. It's not like there aren't kids making money all over the place.
I think they have to be. I mean, like you said, it's human nature, and then that's only turned up to 11 at a place like Kentucky, where the microscope is on you 24/7, and people care so much, and every whether it's the message boards, online, all this stuff, a lot of which the players probably see from time to time, which doesn't help anything either. And yeah, I think that now that they're sort of on payroll and that there are real expectations for them, and there's tangible money being put behind those expectations, and then they see how upset people get when they don't perform. It's a tough cycle to deal with, especially when you're 18, 19, 20 years old. I can't imagine having to deal with those things at that age, and I'm glad I didn't. But yes, I think it absolutely plays a role, and you said it right. I mean, yes, it's a heck of a lot easier to play loose and play free in a game like you're going to have tonight, where, yeah, let's face it, you cannot play well, you're probably going to win by 20 points. But then when all the lights are back on and you're on ESPN playing North Carolina and all these things, yeah, then all of a sudden everything tightens up a little bit more, because especially now that you remember what happened the last time out and all the different things that came with that. So yeah, it's a tough cycle to break out of, but it's just one of those things with trusting each other, kind of coming together as a locker room, and kind of hoping that the collective can be greater than the sum of the parts. And I think that's where last year's team excelled at times, was that the whole was greater than the sum of the parts. And right now, kind of the opposite is true this year, and you're seeing some more kind of whether it's selfishness or just kind of hero ball isolation stuff. That was disappointing to see against Michigan State, and you just gotta get that stuff out of here right now, because it's not going to work.
All right, let me throw this at you. I don't know if this is the first time he said this. I'm going to assume he said it many other times, and I just haven't seen a soundbite. Yeah. I follow Patino like crazy. Always have, always will. Most fun I ever have covering basketball was with Rick Pitino. Even said it when Cal was here. Just the way it was for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to go on a tangent because it'll be 1:15 by the time I finish. And so I've been saying this for a couple of years. I think you have too. I think, but you'll answer after you hear this. Rick Pitino talks about the state of college basketball. I've been saying forever. With all the guys that don't go to the NBA, partly because they're not wanted, partly because they can make more money in college than being a second-round draft choice or going to the G League. Guys are older. I don't want guys here 6th, 7th years. I don't want that crap. But it's going to condense a little bit. Basketball has never been better on the upper left. Never, ever, 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 ever been better. Here's Rick Pitino.
College basketball, everybody's knocking it. I happen to think the opposite. I think college basketball right now is at an all-time high. It's zenith because the talent is the best I've seen. I've never turned on games this early in the season like Alabama, Illinois, Connecticut last night against Arizona, Gonzaga. Because of the influx of foreign players now not going to professional basketball and now going to college basketball is at an all-time high as far as talent and execution. Incredible basketball right now.
Now, the other thing is the foreign players. Illinois, I think, has 5. And the influx isn't crazy where a guy like Yelovich was playing pro ball, and there's dozens and dozens of Yelovich in college basketball now. And I don't know what the hell he was getting in Europe. I'm assuming 6 figures, right? I can't
Probably,
believe.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he was making. I have no idea, but I wouldn't suggest or guess $1 million. Whatever it is, he's making more here, and so Illinois has 5 of those players. 5 of those players from. It's interesting how Stojakovic is great, and by the way, Kentucky wanted me to turn it down. Man, his dad was one of the great shooters of his era, and so between guys staying in and guys coming over, basketball's never been better. With all the moaning and groaning about the money, I'm watching games and going, I've seen probably I'm sure I've seen more, at least 7 or 8 games. If it was a Final 8 game to go see who gets to the Final 4, that'd been really good games, and it's not even turkey time yet. So, do you agree?
I couldn't agree more. The game is in a place that, to me, it's not even close. I mean, but you also have this freshman class, which happens to be incredibly special. We're talking about 10, 12, 15 freshmen that are legitimate first-round NBA draft picks that are changing college basketball for their respective teams. But then, yes, you have Coach Pitino mentioned Alabama. I mean, LeBaron Philon 5 years ago would have gone pro. He was probably going to be a late first-round draft pick this year, as certainly a top 40 pick, would have had a guaranteed contract. Now he's back, and he's looking like a first-team All-American. There's certainly guys on a lot of these other teams, too, that even Otega Oweh's an example. Like, he probably would have gotten drafted, but he's back in college. And there's a lot of other teams that have guys like that all these fringe players that, whether it's from freshman to sophomore to junior to senior year, like, instead of them leaving and being a fringe NBA player, now they're back and they're being All-American caliber players in college. And then, like I said, when you mix that in with a all-time great freshman class, as Coach Pitino mentioned, all these foreign players coming over, and instead of being drafted and stashed overseas or playing in the G League or on the end of a bench somewhere, these guys are playing college basketball now, and they're among the best players in the country. Yeah, it would be so hard to argue that this isn't kind of the best time that we've ever seen in college basketball, with just the amount of talent coming from so many different directions.
And there's no reason to believe it won't get better next year.
Right. Yeah, I think you're just going to continue to see some guys stay a little bit longer, which obviously is good for the game, good for the individual's game, and good for the team's game, good for the greater good of the game. You're going to see more foreign players come over as they see friends of theirs have a successful route to the NBA. So yeah, I think this is a trend that is going to continue over the next few years, absolutely.
And the reason why I think it's going to be better is what you just said, be more foreign players. Like, there could be dips and ebbs and flows, and not every year it's going to go up and up and up. But it'll be better next year, even if there's a dip, much better than it was 5 years ago. To me, there's no question about it. But all of a sudden, there are so many foreign players coming in. It's like all of a sudden it's gone from, okay, some, boom. To me, it's a boom, and I think the boom is going to continue, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. One, and heck, we're even seeing it now. I mean, I know this is a little bit more of a special case, but we've started to see some G League players sign, now as well. So you're even going to get, some of the kids that took those kind of direct pro paths that are now going to come back to college basketball. Again, that's a little bit more specialized. The circumstances around those deals are different than the international kids. But yes, I think that this international thing, until a rule changes or something that makes it not so easy to happen, I just can't imagine that you're not going to continue to see more and more guys come over for a year or two as opposed to going, straight to the pros.
It's kind of funny. When I saw that story the first time, I wonder if you felt the same way about a G League player going to college. I thought it was AI driven until finishing reading the story that the player was going to Santa Clara. I've been good friends with Herb Sendek, who's done the show a couple of times for a long time, going back to when he was an assistant for Patino. But I was introduced to him in an odd way when I was in Pittsburgh, because he's from Pittsburgh. Went to Carnegie Mellon, decided he turned down a job for $75,000 to go to Wall Street to work for nothing as a GA, because that's what he wanted to do. He's one of the smartest guys you'll meet, and soft-spoken and a really good dude. And so when he looked at the rule and he was the first to do it, I'm going, okay, you got Herbie's name on this. Herbie wouldn't. There are certain coaches, I don't want to get sued, but there are certain coaches we both could name. If their name came up on it, you would say, okay, is this really true? And that kind of stuff. So when he did it, he saw the rule and he jumped on it. So last thing, I'm serious now. If you were Mark Pope, if there was the right player out there, and I got to believe some of there is, who it is, I have no idea. You might know. I know I don't. Okay. I would love, and maybe they're doing this, for them to scour and do their deep, dark research in the G League. I'm serious, for a point guard to bring in now. I really think the right point guard could blend in. The wrong point guard could blow it up. You got to do something. That's me. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Last comment before we say goodbye. What say you, Mr. Brandon Ramsey, who does a great job?
I agree. I think that, that's the nature of college basketball now. 5-6 years ago when these guys weren't getting paid and all this stuff, then yeah, I would maybe be a little bit more worried about how everybody would take it. And, is it going to upset your locker room? And you still have to worry about those things because it still impacts you winning or losing the games. But hey, quite frankly, I'm not as concerned about hurting somebody's feelings now when they're making $200,000 plus than I would have been before when they were just on scholarship. So yeah, I think if there's a way that you can win more college basketball games over the course of this season, and if that's going to get somebody from some loophole out there, then let's do it and let's play them, because your job is to win the basketball games. And I think you have to do that to the best of your ability, even if it upsets the apple cart a little bit along the way. So yeah, I think if you can do it, if you can find the right fit and you can bring them in and it doesn't make things worse and it makes it better, then absolutely we should be turning over every stone to make that happen.
Yeah, and you know what? The heck with this kumbaya stuff. You're paying a kid $300,000. If you're not doing the job, this is not professional sports.
Exactly.
We got to replace you with somebody better. I got to do whatever I can to win. Okay. Yeah. You check it out and you do your best to make sure. And Pope would do that. Obviously, the chemistry. There's got to be somebody out there who's a better point guard than anybody playing right now. Anybody playing right now who would help the roster and not only not screw up the chemistry, but probably help it. Who that is, I have no. You can't tell me there isn't somebody in the G League who you'd say, "I'll give you $500,000." They'll come up with the money. Are you kidding? Seriously. So you agree?
Absolutely. Yep. Let's do it.
Bless you, Ram. You're great. I loved your thing last night. Again, I'm telling you, when you talked about how you love your job, I so enjoy talking to people that love what they're doing, and impress on any young person out there or father or mom who's listening to push your kids to one thing. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What makes you happy? We spend too much time doing all this stuff. I'm doing this in retirement because I love doing it. You spend too much time, at least with all the time you spend away from your family, do what you love. And I am really proud of you. Give yourself a great plug for everything you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. You can follow me on Twitter at BRamseyKSR. All the written work goes on KentuckySportsRadio.com. Had the Brandon Ramsey College Basketball Show, had a couple of videos up after the Michigan State game, breaking some things down from an X's and O's standpoint. So you can go check that out. Also have videos on the Kentucky Sports Radio YouTube channel. And again, all that gets promoted through my Twitter at BRamseyKSR.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Anytime, Alan. Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Jimmy, he's great. That tweet he put up last night about how, he's just about to start doing his work. that he loves doing this for KSR. Come on, you love what you're doing. He is lucky and blessed. And you know what the other thing is good about Brandon? Besides the fact he's really, really good at it, that seems to be pretty obvious, that he appreciates how he's lucky and blessed.
And I think when you have that, you appreciate how lucky you are is when you put in the work in the extra time. He's like, I don't have to do this. I get to do this for a living.
Yeah.
And that's the awesome part. And he's, like you said, he's very good. A lot of people have a passion, but they're not good at the passion. He happens to have both. He's very passionate. He's very good.
It's called having the whole package.
Yeah.
Plus, he's a great dude, too. Thank you, Brandon Ramsey. Oh, he's in the hopper. Okay, Chris Chenault coming up next. I don't know who's our most no-filter guest, but if there were a finalist, wouldn't you say, Jimmy, that Chris would have to be one of the finalists right away?
He is up at the top. Absolutely top 3. I don't know who the other 2 are, but he's in the top 3.
Well, you and I, we used to do this, not today. We're too booked up. We should do some extemporaneous things. I don't hurt anybody's feelings, though. You know, I'm very sensitive. Yeah, if anybody watching on YouTube, your look, Jimmy, was absolutely priceless. Like, really, Cutler? That's what you're throwing at me? Terry Page. Terry, that was really good, Jimmy. Terry Page. Not a very good, a great licensed massage therapist. I've been having trouble with my neck again, way I'm sleeping with my eye and stuff like that. I had trouble turning it all the way. When I left, boom. I slept better last night. Seriously. She dug in my neck. It wasn't fun. Was it worth it? Yeah. Terry Page, 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. Caller, please use my name. And please trust me that I'm telling you the truth, what it's been for me. That's as honest as I can be. 859-373-0578. Chris Chenault and Nick Roush. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
This is Brent Clark with my daughter, Carlisle.
We want to help you get ready for the holidays. So if you are just headed around the block or far away, stop in, gas up, and get some yummy treats for the car. Check out our holiday specials, including Old Trapper Jerky 4-ounce bags for $8.99 and assorted Snickers standard size candy bars, 2 for $3.
So no matter where your holiday travels take you, stop in any Clark's Pumpkin Shop and get stocked up on holiday candy. And thank you for being a customer.
Clark's Pumpkin Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1300 and 92.5. WLXG Lexington and LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
Baller, man. That's a baller, man. I love watching him play, man. I remember my first time actually running routes with him when I first got here, and I was like, man, who is this guy? And they were like, he's just a freshman. I'm like, he's going to be really good. So I always knew he had the potential, and I think he's still got a bunch of levels that he can touch. He just doesn't probably even know it yet, but he's really good, man. I'm proud of him.
That's Jamari Macklin, and I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the more I learn about this young man, he's become one of my favorite players on the team, and I've never been face-to-face with him. He has an amazing attitude. He's great with young people. He's great with kids. I told this story the other day, and then I want my guest, who I will hopefully properly introduce in a second. Somebody came at him, Twitter stuff, the garbage, the crap at him about, fumbling a punt, that kind of thing. And his response was so positive back, he turned the guy. And he gives stuff for kids, and he talks to kids, and he's got strong beliefs. He's going to be a hell of a coach. Now, did I think he'd have a better career here? I did. So does he. But you know what? He's got such a positive attitude. He's such a good dude. I want to tell you, as soon as his eligibility is up, we're going to get him on the show because I think he's a great, great young man. And that's not why I'm playing the bite. I'm playing the bite because it's a good cutter bite. So Christian Alt, former Studley linebacker. You always used to smile when I would say that. I guess you're so used to it. You go, well, Cutler, you're right. Now you're smiling. Former Studley linebacker for Kentucky, number 2 on the all-time list, and will always be number 2 because ain't nobody going to play that long to get as many tackles as Chris. Because if you're as good as Chris, you're going to go to the NFL early. It's a pretty simple prediction. It wasn't very tough. In the UK Athletics Hall of Fame. So let me tell you how I started the show. I don't know if you heard it or not, and then I want you to go, okay? And I put it this way. I sincerely believe from the bottom of my heart that Cutler, hang with me a second, saved Stoops' job. I'm not ripping Zach Calzada, but had he continued playing the quarterback and been healthy on the level he was playing, Stoops would be fired at the end of the year. Now, everybody knows the quarterback is more important. Everybody's banding around Cutler. Cutler's doing things that Zach Calzada couldn't do. I'll go one further, and I've said this now multiple times. People at Auburn wanted them to recruit Pavia. The Auburn coach just got fired because he doesn't have good quarterbacks. Had Pavia gone to Auburn instead of Vandy, there's no question in my mind Auburn would not be making a coaching change, which a lot of people think it'll be John Summerall. That's not the point. The point is quarterbacks can make that much of a difference. Tim Couch changed the whole program. There's no question about it. Quarterbacks are unique. It doesn't mean that linebackers aren't important. I don't want Chris to come through the phone and smack me, but everybody plays harder when you have somebody like that. The sidelines went crazy when Cutler put his right shoulder down, which I didn't like, and pushed himself in the end zone. Ty Bryan said, I wish there was a camera somewhere of us because we were going nuts. That unifies people. Football is a tough game. And I think Cutler saved Stoops' job. That's not a negative comment towards Stoops. It's saying, okay, guess what? We got the right guy. One more. Van Hyle said that Cutler is now one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the conference. He's going to be freshman of the year. And right now, when you look at tomorrow's game with Vandy, in the last 5-6 weeks, the 2 hottest quarterbacks in the conference are going head-to-head against each other. With that long diatribe, without further ado, now you go, Mr. Chris Chambliss. What do you think of all that?
I agree. I haven't been sleeping since we beat Tennessee Tech. We need one more game to be bowl eligible. And I don't mind going to Music City or whatever we end up, but I think Cutler, he was there all the time on the team, and they just didn't start the season with him. I don't know what it took. He has the command presence, but I guess when you recruit somebody to come in to specifically play quarterback, you're going to ride that and see what he has to do. But Cutler has taken over the team. The team will follow him. UK just has to keep him happy. But like you said, he did save Stoops' job. And when he ran over that defensive back, I don't know. I guess they came in at, what were they, 9-0? Tennessee Tech was, they had a little bit too much confidence. There's different levels to football. Okay. Then when I look at Cutler and I saw him lower that shoulder, I said he's gonna flatten that defensive back. He looked like Allen out there for Buffalo. Just you lower your head and go on. They wasn't expecting it, and they don't know how bad. That just shows you how bad these kids are playing for Stoops. They're gonna dominate, and when you got somebody in that position and they're coming in here cocky, you got to put your foot on their neck real quick. The first play, just knock them. I like where we're going. The next 2 games, I'm amped.
I am so excited to watch the Vandy game tomorrow. I can't believe
That's it. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna call my friends. Are we gonna run down there? Are we gonna go to the K Club? Are we gonna watch it? Everybody's trying to decide what they want to do, and of course the holidays are coming up and stuff. So everybody's a little bit tight buying that turkey money, using that money for turkey and fixings and stuff. But I will be in front of the TV watching every snap of that play tomorrow.
Me too. You know what I'm going to do? See if you're the same way. I'm going to watch the women's game because they're playing Louisville. Starts at 2. Now, if it's tight down the stretch, I'm going to wait on the Vandy game. I'm taping it, and then I'll go over. But if Kentucky and Louisville is close down the stretch, I'm not breaking away from the game. I'll only miss the first 10 or 15 minutes, but I won't miss it. I'll start the tape from the very beginning. I shouldn't say this, but I'll miss a couple of commercials, and I'll catch up quickly. You know,
Right.
say that if you're in radio. But I'm so excited about watching TV sports tomorrow. Crazy, isn't it?
I'm just on the game. I won't watch anything to that game. I'm gonna go get me some hoagies and some sugar-free Dr. Pepper, bag of ice. I'll be ready. In the man cave, which I have 3 of. But
Hold on, you have 3 man caves?
3-man caves. I have my patio, so when I'm out there, my wife can be in the living room and we can still be in the same vicinity. But she watches what she watches. I don't do reality TV. I can't do it. It kills me. And then if you're not watching it, it'll hook you. Next thing you know the names of people. That's why I went back to work, knowing who was on Days of Our Lives and stuff, or whatever show she was watching. I'm worrying about what Kit and Greg did to Jennifer, and I'm like, nah, that's not how I'm going out. I want to go out with sports on my mind.
That's why you went back to work.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, don't be tired, y'all. If you get, I didn't have my health, that's why I had to. But when I got my health back, I had to get out of the house. It's just people like me. I'm hyper, and I tend to be around people who are hyper. What's that saying? If you hang around rich people, you be 5 rich people, you be the 6. Yeah, I hang around crazy people who have that amp and thing of sports. Every time I work with somebody, I say, "Who's your team?" And then we go into debate. That's how you break friendships and down boundaries. I mean, sports it brings people together, and everybody has their opinion, right or wrong. And each year is different. You up one year, you're down to up. That's like life, highs and lows.
Any fear about them losing tomorrow?
It's always a possibility, but we still got one more shot to beat Louisville. And I said we got 2 games to win one. I'm down for both. I haven't slept. I'm anxious about it. I get nervous. I'm tapping my legs now just thinking about it. And I just hope the offense comes out. Defense, I know we're missing a couple starters, but next man up. Defense is so easy to fill in because aggression is something all you gotta do is point. It's an A and B thing. And then as long as you got a good linebacker and somebody can dictate and change the plays when the offense changes the plays. As a linebacker, I knew what everybody had to do and who was hot. If I saw Jerry Bell getting there and his feet's digging in the ground, I'm calling it a dog stunt. We're going. And all I had to do is walk up and say left dog, right dog, or tap him. Sometimes you can't hear it when you're on there, but being in the game, I wish they could mic it up and put you like those cameras and let the fans see what they see it as a linebacker and a quarterback. The field is so much going on at one time, but when you own a certain level, it slows down. And believe it or not, you see everything. And that when you get to that feeling, you just react. That's why you see players going faster and knowing what the game is and jumping the snap count because everybody gets content and getting that same rhythm when they get nervous. You got to have somebody who's calm and collected. Cutter's got it. We're gonna be all right.
Hey, Jimmy, give me a thumbs up when you cue it up. Also from Jamari Macklin is clip number 1 about the wideouts, and I want to play it. And then, Chris, I want you to respond. At the beginning of the year, the wideouts were awful. They were just awful. And we discussed it, and I talked about it ad nauseum, and you were so shy about talking about it. And I think you got to give, and I've been saying this for weeks now, you got to give Brian Washington a lot of credit. I mean, these kids, the whole room has totally changed. Law, it wasn't just his 11 catches and his yaks afterwards, but it was 11 catches and 11 targets. A guy can have 11 catches, but you throw the ball 18 times, it's not as impressive to me. It's just not. And so Macklin is this is a great kid, and it's part Cutter, it's part wideouts, it's part wideout coach. What the value is, the percentages, I honestly don't know, but I give credit to all 3. This is why Jamari says the wideouts are now better.
Being able to get the ball out quicker, giving the receivers a chance to, make people miss in open space, like guys like Kendrick Law, and just watching him, explode over the past couple of weeks has been really fun to watch. And just blocking for him, knowing that a lot of people know that he's going to get the ball, so just, it's just exciting to be able to block for a guy like that and play with a guy like that. So.
Now, how much do you like it when a wideout says he's excited to block for a guy like that?
It's where it's a team effort. I mean, individually they shine and stuff, but when you got people blocking downfield, if you get 11 people coming together as one, you're going to have big plays. And every play is basically a breakdown in somebody's assignment when it doesn't. Every play is designed basically to get what 5, 10 yards for a touchdown or whatever. But when you have people on the same page, and it's almost like the Golden State philosophy. We don't care who shines, but you're gonna have your one guy who shines. But take for instance somebody who's on the line and doesn't get all that credit. Everything comes together. A second late, second block, or you just watching, and people get involved in that. Turning around and watching them run a run when they're great or something like that. No, carry out your assignment until the whistle's blown and you will see good things happen. And you see it all the time in film. But as far as the wideouts, they've gotten better. It's a pitch and catch game. And once you get on the same page with your quarterback, it's like you ain't got to look at them. They should be walking around throwing balls to each other while they eat lunch. That's how the chemistry has to be. And they've got it. Now I got to do that separation is going to be there because he knows when he's breaking. He knows when if he needs to throw it low. And once you get that, it's called same page mentality. They'll
You know
be
what?
fine.
I'm sorry for stepping on you, Chris. You know what is not getting enough credit? You got a kid named Law who's got all the talent in the world. Nobody ever questioned that. And they question his ability to run routes. And he came here with a chip on his shoulder saying Alabama didn't use me properly. They also had some kids in front of him that were really, really talented. Now, he might have thought he should have played over a couple kids. One of them still there is going to be a first-round draft choice. Neither here nor there. We all have our own perspective or value and stuff like that. But I do find it interesting that you can leave Alabama and come to Kentucky, and this is one of the things where this program doesn't get enough credit, and actually, here's a word we don't hear a lot, improve.
Yeah, because you're not getting the reps. Everything's about repetition. Quarterback, the wide receivers, you got to get the reps in practice, and you got to get the game time experience. Practice and the game time is totally different. Some people can't perform, and when that pressure's put on them, and that's where think that's when you make diamonds out of pieces of coal. When somebody who sees the limelight knows the pressure and still performs. When you get someone like that, you're doing great. But when you get 10 other guys like that, you got a team.
I'm going to switch some basketball for you. I love what Mashburn said. We're not going to play the whole thing again. He called Kentucky, they playing like kittens versus Wildcats. And to me, he's not ripping Kentucky. He loves Kentucky. That's just an honest, no filter way to analyze in his mind. First of all, Mass is a really smart dude. Always has been when I first met him. Second of all, was he a really good player? No, he was spectacular. So he's got credibility. You know what? He's the best person on that show. Pearl is really good. Rose is really good. When I watched last night, Mashburn was talking more than anybody, and I wonder if it's the Kentucky connection because Lefko, the host, was in Louisville TV for a long time. I don't think that's it because Lefko has worked with Rose a lot, and Bruce Pearl is also really good. Point is this. He was the main, at least last night. I'm going to keep on watching the show. It's a really good show. It's not as good as a TNT show with Shaq and those guys. That's just a stratosphere. But I like that this college show, they're not forcing humor. They had a couple of things, but it's not like, well, let's try to be funny like Barkley. No, Barkley is Barkley. And Barkley opens his mouth and is funny, and when you force it, it sounds terrible. But anyway, I don't know if you saw him, Ash. He's really good. And as I said earlier, I think he's gone to a coach. It's not that he wasn't speaking well before. His enunciation is like perfect. He's slowed down slightly. His thoughts were always good. The way he's coming out with his comments, he was spectacular last night. I'm not just talking about what he said about Kentucky. Everything that came out of his mouth, he's about to become a superstar, I think, on TV. I really mean it. I mean, I can see it. I can feel it. It doesn't take that long for me to notice those things, and I'm happy because I like Mash. Point is this. I thought his comment was fair. That doesn't mean he's saying they're going to play like kittens the rest of the year. He's saying they're playing like kittens now. I think he said it better than I said it. I agree. What do you say?
I watched the game, and like you said, they played like kittens. They need to scrap. Kentucky basketball is diving on the floor, going at it, and just hustle. And that rotation, people saying, is he using too much on the rotation? Get your set five. I'm not too much on basketball and all the X's and O's, so to say, but I can always tell hustle and desire. I mean, one thing I didn't like Coach Pope saying we're not there yet. I want a little bit more emotion out of him. And I read all the little comments. I think he's going to be great. He's just got to get them to jail, and everything's a chemistry thing. He's basically got a new team.
So do a lot of teams.
Yeah, that's true, but each one is different. He's got to figure out how to coach them, and once he gets that, they'll be fine. I mean, I think everybody wants them to come out of the blocks like a shotgun and just demolish Michigan State and stuff like that. They're still finding themselves and stuff. And when the other two guys come back, they're gonna go through the same thing again. It's a
Yeah.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a really good comment. And I said that when JQ comes back,
Yeah, they have to start all over.
when Low comes back, guys have different roles. The minutes change. I'll tell you, a team, I saw it last night, who's obviously now, when I saw the Alabama St. John's game where Alabama won the game down the stretch, St. John's looked tired. They missed shots down the stretch. But if it's a game to see who goes to the Final Four, it was a great game. Well, guess what? St. John's still doesn't know how they're going to play. So I mean, he's facing the same thing, but he's winning. Didn't beat Alabama, but he's winning. And they were down 8-2 against Bucknell, and he took out the whole starting five, and I loved it. And
He's classic for that.
boom, you're out. And what he's done is he's used 4 starting lineups so far this year in 4 games. And so he's not afraid to change, and he don't care what the kids think. He's Rick Pitino.
Right. And I think where Pope is, he's still he knows UK is a great program, stuff like that, but he's still worried about what the fans and what they expect out of him. He's got to
Hang
do
on,
it.
no, I got to stop you. I got to stop you. Yeah, that's a very fascinating comment. Hang with me. You really think that Mark Pope is concerned about how fans think?
I think he was in that press conference for the simple fact we're not there yet, and we're doing a poor job. He's not talking to me; he's talking to the fans. And I'm like, I know what coaches go through, and he's worried about getting a bad taste in the fans' mouth when they're expecting the world. It was Final Four talk after we beat Purdue, and everything's kind of tempered, solve everybody down. And then you're getting the people who are Monday back quarterback and making little comments. I don't care what you say. People look at that. You feel the tension and stuff like that. I don't think they're down on him yet, but they don't like losing to those 2 ranked teams, and that's got people just whispering a little bit.
Oh, I think there's some people that are down on him. I absolutely do.
Well, I know some people didn't like the hire, but I like his enthusiasm. It could have been the little things I was watching on my TikTok where he come out and the crowd's going, well, I just like his energy. And when I say I like people's energy, their karma is, I feel like they can get the job done.
Let's put it this way. Everybody's got their own opinion. I think to give up on Mark Pope now is really dumb. And do I think he's going to figure out? I do. You think he will. I think he will. Travis Ford thinks he will. Mass thinks he will. I mean, think about it. Okay, the sky isn't falling. And actually, as bad as they've played in some of these big games, look, I don't want them to lose, but if they played all cupcakes up to now, these weaknesses would be exposed at some time. And now it's not even turkey time, almost turkey time, but you have a lot of time to fix this. Better to fix this now than all of a sudden mid-February and you got these similar problems that pop up and you're going, wait a second. Yeah, the SEC tournament is around the block and the NCAA is around the block. So the fact that he's got all this time, I'm not saying it's a blessing what's happened. I'm not suggesting that. But since you're here now, it's better to happen now than happen mid-January, early February.
Well, to that point, I grew up, my whole family went to Louisville. I was the only one who had straight sense and went to UK. But
Wait, you were the only one with straight sense when they
yeah, I know what I was doing. Denny Crum used to always play these tough teams when he had Scooter McCrae and Daryl Griffin, and my sister was at Louisville on a track scholarship. So I followed them for a while. Didn't even know they had a football program. Different story. But they used to lose all the time, and he always scheduled those games early in the season so he wouldn't know where he was. And then at the end, when March came, they were ready. They was tournament tested. So same philosophy. Go on and get out, see what you got, who's gonna crack under pressure, and get your team right. Because everybody cares. They ain't gonna care how you start. They're gonna care how you finish.
I agree. And I remember talking to Denny about it, and he was cool hand Luke. Yeah, we're going to play tough teams. We're going to find out what we have.
48. Why couldn't you say 35? 48. I would have said 20. I love that movie, man. If you ain't watched it, watch Cool Hand Luke. God, that's a good movie.
You know, I haven't watched it forever. That was a great movie. Okay. It's just a very serious question. Okay. We're coming up to Thanksgiving. How many of your brothers and sisters or relatives went to Louisville versus you going to Kentucky?
Everybody.
What's everybody? 2, 5, 10?
2. Then my brother-in-law, there's 3. And all of them are converted UK fans now because of me, and I have the university has treated me as far as what they do. So I've converted them.
you've converted people
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
Not
I
surprising.
mean, I like U of L. I just don't like it when they play UK because anything in the state of Kentucky, I root for because I'm a people's person. But you always go with who brought you to the dance. You understand?
Well, you just ticked me off because I thought I was going to get something funny out of you and say, what is it like around the Thanksgiving table and some of the ribbing that might go on? Because I know how shy you are because you've got 3 members of your family who went to Louisville. Does it ever come up a little bit?
Well, I have I guess through marriage, the couple went to Louisville, and we always made the bets and stuff. And I usually won, and she had to wear the shirt. But she caught me one year, so I had to go find a U of L helmet. Couldn't find one. Found one of those foam ones that had the cardinal on. I guess it was a Phoenix card. So I'm in the store with this big ass foam helmet on, taking pictures, make a thing. Go U of L. If you go through my Facebook history, I might be able to find it. If I find it, I'll send it to you.
Send it to me because guess what? Next time you're kind enough to come on, I want to use it to tease the show.
We ain't gonna lose to Louisville. I mean, and think about this. I love the rivalry. I love all our rivalries, especially in state, just the bickering back and forth. And plus, UK lost to Louisville. We're winning in football. I just want to beat Vandy and go out and win the last 2.
I think
See what we end up.
I don't know who they're going to play in the bowl yet, but I'm that confident about it. Plus, it's interesting. 4 weeks ago, I would not have didn't predict what Kentucky was going to do. And 4 weeks ago, I would not have predicted that Louisville was going to fall apart. And they are falling apart. And it's possible they could be a mess by the time they play Kentucky. And it's possible they will play as hard as Kentucky did against Louisville last year. It's all very possible that neither one could I predict 4 weeks ago.
And the thing about it is, the process of we going through the seasons, the ups and downs, it made it more interesting. I wish we could have went be 10-0 and stuff like that. But you're looking at a man who been to the mountaintop, got knocked down, and then his players gave his mojo back. And I'm talking about Stoops here. I think his players, when they rallied around him, brought him back to life. And if he can win these last 2 games, which he will, I think we got our coach. I mean, sometimes you slip for a couple of years and someone's got I call a fire on your behind. And that's what happened.
Bless you, brother. Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. All the blessings for you and your family. Wish you happy health.
All right. And I would say extra turkey for turkey sandwiches on that football. Who we got for Thursday night football? Is the Dallas Cowboys?
I don't even know.
Well, Dallas Cowgirls. That's for all you Dallas fans. I'm a Raiders fan. I'm feeling kind of salty right now.
It's always the Lions playing somebody.
Yeah, but they're good now, so it might be worth something. Yeah. All right, y'all. Take it easy, man.
How girls? You always find a way to get your You understand what you always say about being good? Come on.
America, be nice to each other.
Amen. Bless you, brother. Thank you, Chris.
All right.
Talk to you. It's great. If you watch on the YouTube, he's got a really strong smile, a strong frown too. But when Chris smiles, he's got a great smile, doesn't he?
He does.
I think I'm about to have a boxing match. You ready? Nick Roush is coming up next. Nick does a great job covering UK football, and he said he's about to know just put on Twitter, about to know what it feels like to go no filter. Roush coming up next. Really good dude. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914. 859-533-0914. Acupuncture. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist. Ramon Carriego, special dude with the needles. He can help you tremendously. He's done wonders for me. On Versailles Road, by the TV station. Please use my name when you call and get an appointment. He's a really super, super smart dude. 859-533-0914. Nick Roush coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties.
Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
This is Brent Clark with my daughter, Carlisle.
We want to help you get ready for the holidays. So if you are just headed around the block or far away, stop in, gas up, and get some yummy treats for the car. Check out our holiday specials including Mentos or Trident Vibes bottle pack gum for $3.99 or Uncle Ray's potato chips 3-ounce bags for $1.99.
So no matter where your holiday travels take you, stop in any Clark's Pump and Shop and get stocked up on holiday candy, and thank you for being a customer.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Brandon Ramsey was great first. Then Christian Alt, always great second. And now, ladies and gentlemen, making his first No Filter appearance, a young man, because to me you're young, who does a great job covering Kentucky football for KSR, who's kind enough to give us a couple minutes before he, boom, gets out the door and goes to Music City. Nick Roush. Nick, how are you, dude?
Mr. Cutman, it's a pleasure to finally be joining you. I miss, back in the TV days, we'd always have a nice little back and forth. So I'm glad we get to, a little rat-a-tat here on the airwaves today.
Hey, I'm honored to have you. So how about this? You take the first shot at me, or whatever's in your cranium. Do whatever you want to do, Nick, but whatever's in your cranium for No Filter, whether football team, whether it's me, this, that, and the other. It's not about me, but, you take the first shot. If not, trust me, I'm happy to take the first shot.
I think my first shot is actually my most boring shot, and that is
what?
And that is that this season is unlike any other, in that I don't think I've ever just appreciated or enjoyed being in the moment with this Kentucky football team more. Wow. Because it might be a little I'm in my mid-30s now, Alan. I'm a little bit older. I've got little kids running around. So they tell you when you're a parent to live in the moment. And for about half the season, everybody, all they wanted to do was talk about, well, what's next for Stoops? What's next for Stoops? What's next for Stoops? And throughout that time, it was like, we think this might happen, but you got to let the games play out, right? Like this is why we do it. You got to let the games be played. And now that they've been playing the games, it's been a lot of fun to watch the last month or so, and I've enjoyed it. And it's especially because now we don't have to spend all of our time talking about Stoops' future. And if they keep winning, like, hell, who knows where this thing can go? But I have done the boring thing and really enjoyed living day by day, week by week. It feels like coach speak, Cutler, but that's kind of where I've been at this season that's been filled with so many ups and downs.
Actually, I think that's smart, and you're enjoying the moment, and I didn't know you were that smart. That's really smart. I'm not saying I thought you were dumb. If I thought you were dumb, I wouldn't have asked you to come on the show. I mean, serious. That's really, really smart. That's a great attitude to have in life.
Well, that's why I don't have any hair on my head. It's because my brain needs extra room to be able to come up with all these deep thoughts. And that's probably why you got so much on your head, Alan.
Because I have no deep thoughts. So I started the show this way. And you being such a good football guy, I'm curious. So everybody knows the quarterback's more important than every other position. We're going to skip it. There's no doubt in my mind, if Zach Calzada was the quarterback all year, Mark Stoops would be unemployed at the end of the year. I think Cutter has saved his job. And the other example I've used, and this is not a shot against Stoops, it's just life as I think we know it. At Auburn, the people at Auburn wanted them to recruit Pavia. The Auburn coach who just got fired didn't want to. He stayed with his quarterback who wasn't very good. Had Pavia gone there, there'd be, in my opinion, no change in the head coaching position. I think a quarterback can be that important. As great as Mummy was here, he couldn't have done it initially without Couch. Couch elevated tremendously, and Dusty did a hell of a job too. It's not the point. Quarterbacks make that much difference. I really believe that Cutter, absolutely, unequivocally, in my humble opinion, but I want yours, saved Mark Stoops' job.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not even close. I'm just shocked at how good he's been, because when you hit that fork in the road, it was ultimately, well, Stoops' future is now in Cutter Boley's hands. Let's see how good he can be. And I thought he could be good. I did not think he could be this good. I mean, he's completing nearly 80% of his passes at home. I mean, and I think the other part, it's not just that he's played well and, for the most part is taking care of the ball. The part that I think that surprised me more than anything was that in my mind, I was like, well, even if he's good, what are these guys or receivers going to do, right? Like that, who's he going to throw it to? Is the line going to be good enough to block for him? And the answer to the second question is yes. But the first question, that's the biggest surprise of me of the season, and something that I learned that I didn't know on this job previously, is that having a talented quarterback, it lifts everybody up. Everybody plays better. That includes the wide receivers who, I mean, Kendrick Law, we were sitting there in October and it was like, Kendrick Law's good, but can he catch a pass past the line of scrimmage, right? Like, how can your best receiver be a guy who only catches it 1 or 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage? Well, it turns out they've made it work, and that's a credit to Bush Hamden, it's a credit to Cutter Boley, and it's a credit to the receivers who, they could be full of themselves. You know that, Cutler. They can think very highly of themselves, and they've been unselfish. I mean, guys like Macklin and Ferrier haven't gotten mad because freshmen have gotten more time, and they've stepped up when they needed big plays, like that touchdown drive at Auburn. Fred Ferrier had 2 big third down catches. Him and Macklin, those guys could have tucked their tail and just said, screw this, I'm not playing anymore, I'm done. Kentucky had a wide receiver culture problem a year ago. Now it's a plus, and a lot of that has to do with the play of that quarterback. If you got confidence in the guy throwing you passes, you're going to work that much harder, you're going to play that much harder, and you're going to play that much better.
How much credit do you give? Because a lot of it, I think, I don't know the percentages. It's a feel thing, but you're there. To me, you got to credit Cutter. To me, you got to credit the wideouts. To me, you got to credit Washington. To me, you got to credit Bush.
Yes.
We're starting to do some things that I think he always wanted to do but couldn't because he didn't think his guys could do it.
Yeah.
But let's start with Washington. Here's a guy that, people say, he can't coach wideouts. Look how bad that. I'm going, the guy just got here. It was the same thing with Wolford last year. I'm going, well, he was here before. Give him a little time. And then he got to pick his pieces and got the money to basically pick the pieces that he wanted. So how much do you give, since nobody talks about Washington, how much do you give Washington credit for turning the room around?
Sometimes when you hear these guys talk, you think, okay, you're kind of full of crap, right? When he got introduced, he was like, we're going to be a blue-collar group. And I just was kind of, it sounds good, but is it going to work?
And hang on, let me stop you for a part first. And how many times have you heard this before? So show me, right?
Right. Exactly. And when they talk about him being such a positive guy, it made me wonder, can that work? It's been such a rotating cast of characters. I think there's it's either 7 or 9. There's been so many wide receivers coaches for Stoops that it's just okay, is this guy really going to be the one? But to his credit, they say, at least the older guy said, part of the reason why they've been successful is because he holds them accountable, right? It's a fine line of holding guys accountable versus lifting them up, encouraging them, and affirming them. And he's really towed it well. I think he's done a great job. And the other part, too, is I didn't know if Bush Hamden could cut it as a play caller. And I would like to know, because he points to a conversation he had with one of the analysts, Kevin Barbet,
who is a former offensive coordinator, as you know. Well, let me just throw this out there. There's a lot of guys that are in that role, which is considered an inferior role, but the truth also is they're usually very good coaches, not all the time, who are stuck not getting another offensive coordinator's job, so they take a salary cut, become an analyst, and then hopefully become an assistant coach or an offensive coordinator somewhere else. And Saban was great doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And schools do it all over the place. So even though, I don't really, I read his bio, but I didn't know who he was, to be honest.
Right.
But some of those guys are actually really, really good. It's not like a 15-year-old kid was giving him advice. And that also he trusted him. But please continue, Nick.
Well, and you get in that spot because you make the wrong move. He was doing well at App State, and then he got the chance to call plays at Mississippi State. Well, Zach Arnett lasted a year, right? They got out of the air raid. That was hard to do. He goes to Houston. It doesn't work out. So here's his second chance. He's a sounding board for Bush Hamdan. And Bush cited something that Barbet said after the South Carolina game. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just put it in Cutter's hands and let it rip. Like, this is what we got to do. But I credit Bush for knowing his team well enough to say, here's what we have to do in order to be successful. We got to get the ball out of his hands quickly. He'll be accurate. We'll make short passes. It'll loosen up the defense, and then it can lead to a more balanced rushing attack. Almost using the pass to set up the run, which is always the opposite under Stoops. And then you got to give some credit to Mark Stoops as well, because we all know what Mark Stoops wants to do. And there's this constant battle, argument amongst fans, like, how much does Stoops control the offense? Well, it's clear that he was willing enough to say, Bush, this is all you, dude. Like, go win us some football games. I like to run the ball. I like to get north-south. I like to get between the tackles. But credit to Stoops for giving the keys fully to Bush Hamdan, who's done an outstanding job. And I think that's been evident in third and fourth down and red zone, right? When you looked over the years since Liam Cohen, the good teams were great in third down in the red zone. The bad ones were not. I mean, the Scangarello to Cohen, it was like Cohen was top 20 in third down and red zone. Scangarello was like bottom 90s. I mean, and now you've seen it. He's the best third down passer in the SEC, and they've converted touchdowns in the red zone on 10 of their last 12 trips. And one of those that they didn't, that was with the backups in, the twos in at the end of the Tennessee Tech game, and they dropped a touchdown. So they've been incredibly efficient there, and they're going to have to be if they want to pull off this upset at Vanderbilt.
Got 30 seconds because I want to get you out a little before 1:45.
Okay.
In tomorrow's game, and then I'm going to say thank you. Give your plug now, how to read you, follow you on Twitter, all that stuff, because you do a great job.
At Roush KSR, like Roush Racing. Unfortunately, no relation. I'm not driving around Roush Cobra, but we're also Kentucky Sports Radio. You know the website. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere. So appreciate y'all following along.
Okay, give me 4 paragraphs on tomorrow's game.
I think the one box left unchecked by Cutter Boley is playing well away from Kroger Field. Now, he hasn't really had great opportunities. He got thrust into some bad ones early on. But he has a real opportunity to play well against a porous Vandy defense who's given up points to everyone from Utah State to that Auburn team that Kentucky held to just 3. So there's a real opportunity to score points. But that guy Diego Pavia, he finds ways to pull rabbits out of hats and win games. And that's ultimately, I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be back and forth. If Kentucky can generate turnovers, if they can get off the field, they have a chance to win. I just find it hard to believe that they'll be able to knock off Diego Pavia in his final game in Nashville. So I think it's going to go down to the wire. It's going to be an exciting game, but ultimately one that says, Cutter's not quite there yet, but maybe he can be our Diego Pavia down the road.
2 things. 1, hope you're writing a positive game story with a win. And 2, not quite as important, but it is to my belly. May you get some great barbecue in Music City.
Thank you very much. I will definitely find some cold Cokes to enjoy tonight.
Hey, man, appreciate you. I hope you can do this again. You do a great job. You really do. I like where your brains are and your heart for the job and living in the moment. Very, very, very smart. Really good for you, Nick. Appreciate you, dude.
Thanks, Cutler. It's been a pleasure taking off the filter today with you.
See you, Nick. He's great. Jimmy, he's been really good with his passion for football, and he's a really good writer, and he doesn't duck things. He's not afraid to criticize. He does it strong and respectful. but doesn't duck anything. He does a hell of a job for KSR. We got about 6 minutes. I want to flip back to basketball. Jimmy, when you have it, knowing Jimmy, I bet it doesn't take him 10 seconds. The Norm Roberts soundbite from the field of 68. Now, Norm was a longtime assistant in Kansas, and before that, he was the head coach, other places, but he was the head coach at St. John's, and then he basically finished his career in Kansas with Bill Self. He's a good dude, a smart dude, and he gave this analysis to the field of 68 about Kentucky's game and basically what they need.
This is what's going to happen with that team. It happens with all good teams. They're going to get in practice, and it's going to get heated. And it's going to be, hey, we're going to play. The guys are going to play the way I want you to play, and then they're going to go up and down. There may be some, and sometimes this is good, some fisticuffs, some getting after it, where you're going to find out who's committed, as you said, to the jersey, who's committed to Kentucky basketball, who's committed to doing it the way Coach wants it done. Sometimes you have to get all that, I don't know if I can cuss on it, get all that stuff out. You got to get it out.
It's YouTube normal.
Oh, you got to get that shit out. So get all of that shit out and let guys be honest. So now you can have some honest criticism, honest critiquing of what is going on. You don't have to sugarcoat it anymore.
That's a really good comment. I like it. And you know what? I hope things are tough in practice. I hope it is. This is sports. This is not kumbaya. There's a time and place for basically everything. I want to play one more soundbite. I think we have time for it. It's Eric Walford talking about the offensive line and a key for the offensive line. And think about it. So often transfers come in and the players that are there don't welcome with open arms. You're taking somebody's position. You're new. There are clicks, that kind of stuff. That didn't happen in Lexington. That didn't happen with the offensive line. And the center from Lexington is the leader and the key for making all these guys who came in from all across the country, made them feel comfortable. Here's Eric Wolford, the offensive line coach.
I think one of the big things is obviously Jagger being a local guy really helped acclimate the guys just to Lexington in general. I mean, don't ever take this place for granted. Lexington's a great place to live. I lived a lot of places. I know it's cold and rainy today, but it's a great place to live, and there's great people here. So he got a chance to get them out and show them around, places to eat, golf, fish, all that kind of stuff. You know, Jagger organized a trip where they went down to Chattanooga and rented this big cabin, and we're out there playing around with bears and stuff. I mean, I'm like, you guys are absolutely crazy, but you know, those kind of things. Jalen Farmer is a guy that was here a year earlier, and he was a transfer guy. So he can relate to the guys coming in, you know, kind of letting them know what Wolf's like. And I think that's important too. You know, you're coming here to elevate your draft stock. If you're an upperclassman, obviously help us win games and get better. And what's it going to be like? You know, I always say this is not going to be a petting zoo. Follow me? We're coming here to work and play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
It's not a petting zoo. I love that comment. And you know, it really is. Look, it's a tough sport. Duh. And you have a guy who literally said, I'm going to embrace the new teammates. I'm going to tell them they're welcome. Jagger Burton, by the way, started out his career wasn't good. And I've said this many, many times. They stuck him in to play the offensive line when he wasn't ready. Not his fault. They didn't have anybody. He wasn't strong enough. He wasn't ready. Took a lot of criticism. Some of it was really deserved, and I always felt bad for the kid. And I've said this many times since I'm doing the show. I felt bad because when you put a kid in a position where you don't think he can succeed, but you have nobody else, it's a tough thing to do. And a lot of guys crumble. This kid not only didn't crumble, you can look at him now. I mean, if you look at him now and you look at him as a freshman, like, duh, obviously he's going to look different. He looks like an NFL player now at center. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's smart. And I'm telling you, what I keep on hearing, unless things change, he's probably going to get drafted. Okay, and if not, he'll be a free agent. A lot of things have to change between now and then and stuff like that. But, you know, he might end up in an all-star game. I'm serious. He's a tough kid and really good. But what I really like on top of it, you know, the stuff he was doing to help for charity, bringing his teammates together. This is a wonderful kid. And if you can't root for him, and especially because it was so bad for him, man, he took crap. And, if the kid's from California and in his situation, he wouldn't have taken this much. But when you're local and it's not starting out well, even though I said a number of times, how many times, Jimmy, did I say, it's not his fault. He was put in a position that he just wasn't ready for. Josh Allen, on his way to the NFL Hall of Fame, if he keeps on playing, he just set the sack record for the franchise last week, the week before, whatever. He wasn't ready when they stuck him in. He wasn't even 190 pounds. He told me on tape when he got here. And yet they stuck him on the line, and he was not ready. And he didn't fold. Guess what he did? He turned himself with a ridiculous amount of extra work into a great NFL player. He happens to be a great human being, but that's neither here nor there. So I root for Jagger Burden tremendously because of the kid that he is, and the fact anytime you have a person who literally was knocked down and not only comes back, but I look at him now, Jimmy, I bet you agree, the kid's living up to his potential. And when you put a label on a kid, very often they don't live up to the potential. This kid is living up to his potential and a great human being, and I root for the kid big time. And when you have your line coach giving that kid credit instead of saying, look what I did, blah, 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 that really warmed my heart. I'm serious as a heart attack.
I love it, and I respect that he stayed here and fought through the tough times. A lot of guys would have left. If they were put in a position, they knew they weren't ready or whatever, and all the noise, it could have been very easy for him to say, this is my hometown. I got to get out of here. This is too much. I'll go find another SEC or a little smaller school. He didn't. He fought through it, and it's going to make him a better person.
Couldn't agree with you more. It'd have been easy to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But this is his town, his school. He toughed it out, and then you have a coach saying, hey. And by the way, there have been a couple linemen that we've played sound bites who've basically said the same thing. That, Jagger said, let's do this, let's do that, and whatever. And it takes a while for a line to get together. Lines don't substitute. They try not to, that kind of thing. And it's fascinating how much better this line is today than it was at the beginning. You knew it would get better as long as nobody got hurt. Did I think it'd be this good? I honestly had no idea. Can't be more honest. So we started with the Mashburn soundbite. Was that a 10? Mashburn soundbite? I know we're late. We got I'm going to do 30 more seconds. Mashburn calling Kentucky kittens, not Wildcats. Was that great?
The kittens line was incredible.
As a matter of fact, do me a favor, clip that out, and I want to put that in the open until they become good. And then after they become, we'll take it out, and we'll announce we're taking it out because it's no longer applicable. And I don't think it's going to be applicable all year. But until they change, and winning tonight means nothing to me. That means nothing. If they play well against North Carolina and win, Jimmy, you and I will discuss pulling it out. Is that fair?
Fair.
Until then, stick it in the open if you'd be so kind, sir, and don't take anything out. How's that sound?
Sounds like a plan.
Have a blessed weekend. I'm glad everything on your end turned out great. I'm taking off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week for Thanksgiving. Jimmy, I know you're so excited not to deal with me for 3 days.
Be a nice extended weekend.
I should have learned by now that I shouldn't give you straight lines because, you didn't hit him early on. But now, if I throw you a hanging curveball, my question is it going 390 or 450 out of the park? One of our new guests next week will be Brian Williams, former linebacker. Looking forward to that. Have yourself a great weekend. I'm so excited to watch the women play Louisville tomorrow, Kentucky and Vandy tomorrow. And yes, I'm happy to go watch Kentucky and Loyola, but if they were playing North Carolina, would I be unbelievably excited? Yeah, that's how it is. Have a blessed week. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Appreciate you more than you have any idea. And thank you for telling a friend or two. This thing is spreading thanks to you. Brad Taylor's coming up next. Matthew and Jimmy at 10. I'll be back at noon. We'll have Stoops live on